I was in charge of designing the question, and I led the group that designed the question to measure financial literacy in the PISA program for international student assessment for financial literacy. And what that project and data revealed is that young people are not financially literate. Their level is just too low. And it also revealed how unequally distributed that financial literacy is, that is mostly concentrated among male students from rich families. And so we need financial literacy to graduate because we need to give access to everybody, and because today, as PISA, the OECD PISA data says, it's an essential skill to participate to society.
Now we know that there are many reasons that there are big wealth gaps, from structural racism and structural sexism to a host of other reasons. Financial education is just one tool that could help reduce that gap. And we know it's not a panacea, but we also know that it works, that it's effective, and it is one way to try to help close that gap.
So Fly and myself, yes, we support having students take a financial literacy course as a requirement for graduation. Primarily because the sooner that we can get this information into the hands of young adults, the sooner they can start making really healthy financial decisions. And the longer we wait, the probability of them making financial mistakes increases. And especially when you have students that are living in environments of continuous scarcity, that probability is substantially higher. It's such a wonderful opportunity to see how really intentional financial education can turn into beautiful things for some of these young adults.
Personally, I've done a lot of research studying the causal effect of financial education in high school. So what happens when states say everyone has to complete personal finance prior to graduating from high school on these long-run outcomes, right? So we care about financial knowledge, but we also really care about financial behaviors. So after financial education is required, my research has largely found that credit outcomes improve and debt outcomes improve as well. So what does that mean? That means credit scores go up in the 3 to 5 years after they graduate from high school. It means that students are less likely to miss payments. So they have fewer delinquencies, and particularly 90-day delinquencies, so those severe, really far behind delinquencies. And then I also find in research that that first student loan decision that students make is better. So what does a better student loan decision mean? It means it goes from being a higher interest loan, like a credit card, that you start to pay back right away, and it moves to a lower interest, more palatable loan, so a Stafford loan, something that's subsidized by the federal government, that has a low interest rate, that's kind of guaranteed for a long time, and has potential for forgiveness in the future. Research by someone from the New York Fed has actually recently found that students who were required to have personal finance in high school were more likely to repay their student loans. And that's particularly true for first-gen students, students from lower income backgrounds, and students that went to public schools. So those that we might be the most worried about are actually 10 years later repaying their loans at higher rates, and that's really exciting.
I live in the area that I teach in. So the high school boundaries, I actually live in my high school boundaries. And so oftentimes when I will see a student graduate, that's not the last time I see them. And so I remember I was at the grocery store walking down the aisle with my wife and kids, and we were just picking up a few things, and a student I had like 17 years ago came up to me and said, "Hey, Mr. Walker, do you remember me? You taught me about investing in Roth IRAs, and I started one, and now I'm so much better off than if I had waited." And so it was kind of a cool, and that happens pretty frequently that I run into former students, but it's cool when students come back and say, "I've used the stuff I learned in your class and it's helped me."